boom, big shoulder. I took the big shoulder, came back, hit the mid range. I contested it as best I could test it. Shit was cash. And all I heard was, bust his ass, Shai. And I think it was
Shai is somebody who, it's like it's weird to say, but we haven't seen nothing like that. There's a lot of shit that's happening now that we haven't seen before.
And he's the baddest mofo. Shut your mouth in the league. The way he plays, he's smooth. Candace already alluded to, nobody plays like him.
In a league packed with high-flying dunks, deep threes, and superstar headlines, one player has quietly climbed to the top of the NBA food chain with a style all his own. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is continuing to prove he is one of, if not the face of the league. This season, SGA can now be called another three-letter moniker, and that is MVP. Shai has had his best season in the league so far, averaging 32 points, 5 boards, and a steady 6 assists per night. With a skill set so unique, both current players and legends have expressed how much talent and skill SGA possesses. Smooth, controlled, surgical are few of the many words one could describe his game. He carves up defenses with a calm confidence that reminds basketball purists of the greats. In this video, we're taking a deeper dive, not just into the numbers, not just the accolades, but into the respect he's earned from those who truly know the game. From Hall of Famers to all-star guards, NBA legends have taken notice of this already accomplished superstar. First up is one of the greatest point guards the league has ever seen. Known as the point god himself, Chris Paul. Paul had the opportunity to lace up with Shai during the 2019 to 2020 season in OKC. The veteran floor general took SGA under his wing, serving as his mentor both on and off the court. And what Chris Paul saw in the young guard wasn't just potential, it was greatness in the making.
He's selfless. He hoops, he lets his game do the talk, and he don't really say much. But the other thing I remember when we was teammates, we used to talk about defense a lot. And if you see some of the most elite players in our league, you don't have to be Lou Dort. You don't have to be the best defensive player on your team. They just want to see you try, right? And so Shai accepts that when he has to on any given night on both ends of the court.
That's high praise from a future Hall of Famer. And it wasn't just lip service. Chris Paul saw the potential early, and he didn't just mentor Shai, he empowered him. Chris Paul taught him the rhythm of the game, how to manipulate pace, how to control the floor, how to pick defenses apart without ever rushing. He passed down the point guard DNA, and Shai absorbed every bit of it. One of the many NBA legends who first took notice of Shai's rising game was none other than Kevin Garnett. Known for his fire and competitive spirit, KG doesn't give compliments easily, but he's been vocal about Shai, calling him tough, focused, and unshakable. To Garnett, Shai is the kind of player who doesn't get rattled, no matter the moment. It's quiet confidence, and KG respects that.
If any player is built for like the limelight, I say it's this kid. He's always had his own little flair, and he's always been in his own kind of lane. And he's gotten better each year. He's been consistent each year. And I think now he's taking on like a different level of superstardom. He is international. But I hear a lot of kids, just fucking with him, you know what I'm saying?
Shai really wasn't playing when he said his whole life is all about being consistent. Garnett recognized early on the drive and determination the young player had and saw firsthand how he grew from a good player to one of the brightest stars of the league. And the praise for Shai from Garnett doesn't end there.
I'm looking for bigger and better things with him, man. He's one of them ones that's going to be in the conversation. He's one of them rare guards that we get that's bringing back the midi, and he's perfecting it. His three ball's gotten a lot more tighter. His bag has gotten deeper. You know what I'm saying? Shout to Shai, man, and his growth and his work, man, because you can't get there without the work. Feel me?
Kevin Garnett saw it early, that cold, steady energy in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's game. No trash talk, no showing off, just results. To KG, he saw someone chasing greatness. When a player earns Garnett's respect, it means they've got something special, something you can't teach. This is why Shai eventually caught the eyes of another legendary big man, none other than Shaquille O'Neal. Last season, SGA came short of winning his first MVP, losing to three-time MVP Nikola Jokic. With Shaq being in that familiar situation many times in his career, knew that Shai was going to be out for blood, even going as far as to say that Shai should have won the coveted award over Jokic.
I'm not happy with this one. Congratulations to Joker, you are the best big man in the league, but based on everybody's criteria, my criteria, stat stuffer, you guys' criteria, number one seed, which team has a better record, I felt Shai Alexander deserved it. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, one of only a few players that had 30 points 50 times. Stat stuffer, great season. His team is number one. Nobody expected him to be number one. I thought Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was going to win it by far. But
Shaquille O'Neal doesn't hand out MVP talk lightly. And when he said Shai Gilgeous-Alexander should have won MVP over Nikola Jokic a season ago, it made waves. To Shaq, it wasn't just about stats. It was about impact. That kind of praise from a legend like Shaq doesn't come around often, and when he puts Shai in that MVP conversation above a then two-time winner like Jokic, it tells you everything. Shai's not just earning respect, he's forcing it. And on the court, Shai made sure everybody knew that he should be taken seriously, even as early as his rookie year in the league. That's where Danny Green comes in. A three-time NBA champion and one of the league's most reliable perimeter defenders. Danny has seen it all, but even with all his experience, he admits Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is one of the toughest covers in the league.
This is one of my defensive years. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna show that I picked Shai up full court. It was a bad idea. It was moving fast, and I was still young enough to keep up. I was fast enough, but I didn't know he had the shoulder like that.
Yeah.
And he would get big shoulder, stop on a dime, behind the back, pause, and his shot is funky, so you don't believe in it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's cash.
Yes.
You're gonna hit threes, mid-range, everything. All right, let me pick this motherfucker up full court one time.
Mm-hmm.
Picked him up full court. I'm like, let me see what he really about. He showed me really about. He sprinted, same thing. Boom, big shoulder. I took the big shoulder. Came back, hit the mid-range. I contested it as best I could test it. Shit was cash. And all I heard was, bust his ass, Shai. And I think
That first game stuck with him. Shai earned Danny's respect not by talking, but by making tough plays and staying in control. Shai wasn't just another rising guard. He was crafty, composed, and dangerous. And when a defender with multiple championships says you're hard to guard, it sure does mean a lot. He knew from experience, this wasn't a player you could sleep on. A handful of NBA legends early on were already hyping up Shai to be one of the future faces of the league, and there was no other legend who believed in it more than Charles Barkley. Barkley has never been shy about speaking his mind, and when he talks about Shai, he doesn't hold back. Barkley has called Shai one of the best in the league and even said he could be the face of the NBA. That's huge coming from a Hall of Famer and former MVP who's seen the game change over decades.
OKC is the best team in the NBA. I've been telling y'all that for 2 months. Hey, ESPN, I love you guys. Don't try to make Anthony Edwards the face of the NBA. The face of the NBA is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. You can't give it to people. They have to take it. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is taking it.
And taking it he is. Fresh off his MVP campaign and heading into the NBA Finals, Shai has built quite the resume just off this season alone. Barkley saw it from the beginning, almost like he was warning us of what was inevitably coming. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is not just a superstar, he's well on his way to a legendary career. He's already one of the best guards in the NBA, and adding an MVP and a finals appearance just further helps his case. When it comes to winning MVPs, Steve Nash is no stranger to that conversation. Taking home the trophy in back-to-back seasons, Nash was familiar with what it takes to claim that coveted title. However, when it came to Shai, he knew his unique and striking style of play was always meant to make waves around the league.
Shai is going to have the best mid-range year ever in the NBA. Something like 60% on like 15 mid-range shots a game. Like, this is likely MVP, if not number 2 MVP race, having an unbelievable season, and he is shooting more mid-range shots than anyone else. But the key is, like, what they are not doing is stopping driving the ball to the basket. So Shai's still an elite, maybe the leader in drives, right?
For Steve Nash, it's not just about the numbers, it's about the feel. And when he watches Shai, he sees a guard who understands the game on a deeper level. Someone who knows when to slow down, when to strike, and how to stay 3 moves ahead. Nash sees a player who doesn't need to force anything, because the game already flows through him. It's a rare thing, even in today's NBA. But while Nash focused on the craft, Carmelo Anthony sees something even bigger, a run that's unlike anything we've seen in a long time. Melo's been around legends, played against MVPs, and watched stars come and go. But when he talks about Shai, he sees a player who's doing things no one expected, at a level that's hard to believe. In Melo's eyes, this isn't just a breakout, it's an unprecedented rise.
He know when to take off. He know when to speed up. He know when to shot fake. He know how to get to his spots. You know what I mean? Like you're not gonna speed him up. He gonna take whatever you give him. You send me left, I'm going left. I got something for that. It's just like the way that when you talking about the poise of like not speeding somebody up. Like you don't see that. You know what I mean? So to find your pace in the league, once you find your pace, it's hard for somebody to speed you up out of that pace.
Melo highlighted how rare it is for a young player to score efficiently without relying on athleticism or flash. Instead, using footwork, angles, and feel, all things Melo himself mastered over the years. And for a scorer like Melo to recognize that in Shai, that's not just praise, it's a testament.
It's weird to say, but we haven't seen nothing like that. There's a lot of shit that's happening now that we haven't seen before.
Right.
We haven't seen shit that Shai is doing. You don't see this type of shit. Like, you don't see nobody playing like that style of play within the offense. Like, the team is really good, and he's still effective. He's efficient and effective on being on a great team. That's hard to do.
Carmelo Anthony saw the offensive brilliance, the footwork, the pace, the control, and called Shai's rise unprecedented. But on the other side of the ball, guys like Tony Allen, one of the toughest defenders of his era, see something just as serious. While Melo focused on how hard Shai is to stop, Tony Allen focused on what makes him so hard to guard. And if a guy who made his name locking up stars says you're a problem, you know it's real.
It's amazing to me how much attention he gets on the defensive end, but they done tried everything, trapping him. They done tried playing one-on-one coverage. They done went to drop. They done went to all these formations. It still haven't phased him. He still continues to get to his spot, calculate his steps, and get to that putback, that step back or that pull-up. There's no stopping. He's a mismatch nightmare for any team down the street.
Coming from the perspective of one of the best lockdown defenders the game has ever seen, Shai is proven to be a tough matchup for anyone and everyone. What makes Shai so hard to guard, according to Allen, is his ability to get to his spots. With a bag so deep, you simply can't rush him. One of Shai's biggest moments in his career was being traded from Clippers to the Thunder for All-Star Paul George. At the time, analysts saw this as a great trade for the Clippers, acquiring George for a reasonable deal at the time to pair with Kawhi, with some even calling it a steal. However, what the league did not know was Shai was well on his way to making his mark in Thunder history, and Paul George knew it from that very moment already.
Yeah, no, I love Shai. I love Shai's game. Man, Shai is nice. His game is just, but he's nice.
He's shifty. He dope.
Shifty, plays at his own speed. Like, he's deceptively quick. He's going to rock you to sleep and then blow by you. Like, everything is just pace. Like, slow, fast, fast, slow. Like, he's going to throw you off, your timing off. So it's tough. Like, even, like, you might be in front of him. You might stop him. And then you'll relax. And then he'll, boom, attack you right again. And you're like, oh, shit. I thought I had you.
Despite being on two opposite sides of a trade, Paul George couldn't stress enough how much he admired Shai's game, even going as far as to call him when the trade went down. George going over how Shai makes it look effortless on how he controls his own pace, justifies the fear factor Shai emits to those who are assigned the daunting task to defend him. While 6 years ago, fans and media alike said the Clippers won the trade, Shai and the Thunder got the last laugh, securing a trip to the NBA Finals this season, while Paul George, well, safe to say he will have a lot more time to focus on his podcast. In Shai's 6 years in the Thunder, he has achieved a plethora of accolades, putting him in the conversation of being one of the greatest players the organization has ever seen. With a team packed with so much history and recent success, it is inevitable to draw comparisons to your superstar predecessors. What better way to hear about Shai's game than from another accomplished Thunder legend, Kevin Durant?
Yeah, I've been following Shai since he was in college. Just really, his size stood out and his length for his position stood out. So just watching him since then, just seeing, how crafty he's got with the basketball, knowing how to score at this level. I think that's one big adjustment that natural scores. You got to come up here and adjust to different ways to score with the timing and the refs and the sets and the spacing. So I think he's mastered who he wants to be on that side of the basketball. With that length and athleticism, it's going to be tough to guard him. So they got a bright future.
The fact KD was already following Shai during his college days shows how much potential SGA had during his early years. To garner that respect and admiration from a former Thunder MVP is something players don't lightly receive. However, for Shai, his maturity and mastery of the game spoke volumes to a future Hall of Famer, all while not being in the league yet. In his eyes, Shai simply checked every box to become one of the league's most elite players. Quiet but confidently, Shai has carved out a place among the NBA's top talents, and KD sees it clear as day. It is one thing to earn the respect of your peers, but to earn it from someone who rivaled you for an entire season is something only few players have ever received. This was the case for Nikola Jokic, who this season went head-to-head with Shai in the MVP race. Jokic and Shai for the past couple of seasons have gone toe-to-toe with both of them putting up MVP caliber numbers across the stat sheet. However, after Shai fell short of winning the award to none other than Jokic, Shai was hungrier than ever to claim his first MVP trophy. After sending the Nuggets home in 7 games in this year's playoffs, Shai clearly made a statement and made sure the entire league felt it. However, Jokic still had a lot of great things to say to the newly crowned MVP of the league.
And he's a special player, his shot selection, his shots capability of making his own shot separation, playing in his rhythm. Defensively he was like always stealing the balls, always blocking shots. He's like a little I don't know how to say, like a little punter out there. He was always there. So he's a special player.
Despite being eliminated by Shai, Jokic held him in high regard, even going as far as to say he is a special player, a kind that the league rarely sees. He recognized that Shai was a real threat to the league, one who could easily have his way both night in and night out. For someone like Jokic, who rarely shows emotion and never gets caught up in media narratives, his acknowledgement of Shai's game said everything that has to be said. Now, to gain notoriety in the league is something that is worked for and earned. It is one thing to be unstoppable against most players, but to be unstoppable against one of the league's greatest players of all time is even more impressive. LeBron James needs no introduction, simply one of the greatest to ever touch a basketball. For a player of his stature to deem Shai unguardable and assassin on the floor is the cherry on top.
But it's just certain guys that are literally assassins at contested twos. Shai being one of them. They'd much rather you contest than not contest.
Right.
It's literally their rhythm.
Yeah.
And it's a challenge for a player when you're guarding these guys and you say, shit, I just made him take a contested two.
To be talked about by LeBron in such a way in itself is already a testament to how good of a player Shai really is. While some might think Shai's game is unorthodox, LeBron saw him in a league of his own, and compared him with one of the most elite scorers the league has ever seen. He thrives in situations where he is challenged and contested, and that is what made him different from any other player across the league, and LeBron knew that firsthand. After hearing what some of the game's greatest players had to say, there's no denying it. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has earned his spot among the elite. When NBA legends speak with that kind of admiration, it's not just flattery, it's recognition. They see in Shai the qualities that define greatness. Watching Shai play feels different. It's not all speed or power. It's timing, rhythm, and just a crazy understanding of the game. He's not out there forcing anything. He's just smooth with it, making tough plays look easy. And when you hear guys who've played at the highest level point that out, it really makes you appreciate what he's doing even more. He's still young, but you can already tell he's building something special, not just in terms of stats or awards, but in how he plays the game. He's got his own style, his own pace, and it's earning respect from players who know what greatness looks like. What stands out most is how calm he is. Like, no matter the moment, he never looks rushed. That kind of poise reminds you of the greats. It's not something you can teach, it's something you can feel. And Shai's clearly got that in him.